Country music performer Eric Church is playing to the tune of virtue signaling these days. And I don't know if y'all are familiar with him. I'm familiar with him. I like me some country music. I prefer outlaw country. But Church has decided to side with the anti-gun progressives by blaming, of all people, the NRA for the gun violence problems in the United States. And so, of course, outlets like Rolling Stone magazine, who did the interview in which Eric Church went on a quite a pretty anti-NRA, anti-2A rant, they're jumping on this opportunity to embrace this narrative-building country hero, declaring him the defiant one. Didn't we already see this play out with the Dixie Chicks? And where did they go? Anyway, here's some of what Church had said. He says, quote, "I don't care who you are, you shouldn't have that kind of power over elected officials." He says, "For me, it's cut and dried. The gun show loophole would not exist if it weren't for the NRA. So at this point in time, if I was an NRA member, I would think I had more of a problem than the solution," which I don't even understand what that sentence means. "I would question myself real hard about what I wanted to be in the next 3, 4, 5 years." Now, I have quite a lot I said a little bit about this on Instagram yesterday. This is a guy, a performer who, I mean, it's clear that he's not an NRA member because he kind of proves that every time he, I don't know, posts one of his stupid photos wherein he's showing zero trigger discipline and holding a bottle of whiskey that doesn't even look open. You see, I don't think NRA members would do something like this. So he's kind of standing out and declaring that he's not an NRA member. Horrible trigger discipline, by the way. Or what about the time that he did an interview, and hat tip to Sean Campbell on this, when he did an interview with Spin Magazine wherein he was joking about a deer hunting app and intimated that he would also use the app to gun down people who joked about his particular genre of country, calling it bro country, which it is. Here's the thing. Two things that I want to take away that I see in his particular rant here that he gave to Rolling Stone. He's blaming an organization of millions of members. These are people who are his fans, or at least were his fans, if the commentary on social media in reaction to what he said is anything to go by. He's attacking his fans and blaming them for gun violence. The people who go out and buy his music, they support his concerts, they buy his merch, they read his interviews, they watch his performances. And that seems to be a horrible way to thank the people who made your career simply because you disagree about gun policy. You disagree about the implementation and practice of the Second Amendment. That seems to be just a really bad move overall in general, not even just for a performer. Secondly, I think if you're going to pick apart things with which you disagree where it concerns firearm law, be accurate. Speak from a perspective of fact. Don't just parrot things that you've heard and respond to things that you think are true. I mean, here he's erecting a straw man here. When he talks about gun show loopholes, I've said this 1,011,000 times, there's no such thing as a gun show loophole. There's no such thing. In fact, I had a discussion. Sometimes I go in the comment section of my social media accounts, whether it be on Instagram or Facebook. Every now and then I go on and I respond to some of the stuff that's on there. And there was an individual who said, oh, yeah, and they had a newly created account. So it looked like one of those nice bots that were on social media trolling for commentary. But they said, oh, there is too a gun show loophole because I go to gun shows all the time and I set up tables and sell guns all day long. And I'm thinking, did you just admit to a potential felony on Instagram? Because here's the thing, if you're not an FFL, a federal firearms licensee, and I know most of the people who are watching right now are preaching to the choir on this, but this is the thing that aggravates me. If you're saying that these are not already, even private sales are not already strictly federally regulated, you're lying or you're uninformed. And if you're stating that you, as a non-federal firearms licensee, are going to gun shows and you're making a bulk of your income from these sales, well, then you're breaking the law and you're admitting to a felony in the Instagram comment section, which I found just very interesting. But no, that's not. These are all very regulated. I mean, even down to what is a hobby and what isn't. The ATF, 18 USC, all of this stuff is clearly defined. If you're a prohibited possessor, additionally, in your state of residence, you're going to be a prohibited possessor no matter where you go. If you're barred from legal purchase or carry in the state in which you live, you are barred from legal purchase or carry in any state. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you cross the state line. That law is still applicable. So this, he creates this complete boogeyman to which he uses to justify his anti-Second Amendment stance. And yes, I'm very clear in this in my language. It is an anti-Second Amendment stance. You don't believe in just some speech. You don't believe in just some practice of religion. You don't believe in just a little bit of a free press. So why do you only believe in just a little bit of your right to bear arms? That's the question. A right abridged is a right denied. Freedom abridged is freedom denied.